Hello internet, my name is Lave and I actually went to the cinema to watch Churchill, but the projector broke, so instead I had to watch Gifted, which is directed by Marc Webb, who, before directing Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, directed a really cool film which I like called 500 Days of Summer, which is an alternative rom-com, I suppose, so he can direct. His latest film is about a child genius called Mary, who is the daughter of another child prodigy who has unfortunately passed away, so she's now living with her uncle Frank, who is determined to raise her as a normal child so that she has normal friends and goes to a normal school. However, this is jeopardised when his mother and Mary's grandmother turns up and is even more determined for her to reach her true potential, so a custody battle ensues. And that's really the gist of the film. It is part courtroom drama, part child genius in the vein of Good Will Hunting, and for a film like this to work it really needs a decent performance from its child actor, and they've got one in McKenna Grace, who plays Mary. At first I was a little put off by her character, not because of her performance, but her character is quite bratty, but as the film progresses I really grew to like her. Definitely think of her along the same lines as Will Hunting, but instead of having an abusive father she's got a doting uncle, Captain America. Chris Evans does give a really good performance as her Uncle Frank. It's nice to see him in something other than a superhero film. The chemistry between them is really believable. At times they do really push the sentimentality up to the extreme, but I'd be absolutely lying if I said I didn't have a tear and a bit of a lump in my throat by the end of the third act. I also really liked Jenny Slate, who's playing her teacher in a new school and who recognises her talents and begins to get involved in her life as well. She does have a really good laugh out loud moment as well, which I'm not going to spoil. Octavia Spencer also has a small part as Mary and Frank's neighbour, who sometimes babysits for her whenever Frank needs to go out and have a drink and just be a normal bloke of his age. Which reminds me, I haven't seen Hidden Figures yet. I've definitely got to see that because I hear that's very good. Lindsay Duncan plays the grandmother Evelyn. Now at first I wasn't too sure what to make of her character, and I think the script is deliberately going for that. She seems to have quite an amicable relationship with her son Frank, but you can tell there is tension there. But I wasn't sure what to think of her until one scene in the court where she's put on the stand and you really see her determination and her motivations. She's terrific in that scene. Overall, I really haven't got any complaints with regards to any of the performances in this. They're all really good. The focus is on Chris Evans and McKenna Grace's characters, and it does a really good job of that, despite the fact that it bounces around from being a courtroom drama to a child genius doing all of the equations that we've seen a million times before, but it does it well. It also introduces the concept of the Millennium Problems, which are these mathematical problems which people have been trying to work out for years. There's 7 problems and only one has been figured out. It does a really good job of that, and what's really important is that it doesn't explain those, but it made me believe that this little girl could figure out one of these equations. I do have some other niggly points. For example, there are some really blatant product placements which they do try and work into the script, but it was so distracting and just made me roll my eyes. And there's also a couple of moments where they introduce like a pop song which just felt really out of place, which is really surprising when you look back at 500 Days of Summer, which really has a good soundtrack and felt like a part of the film, whereas in this it felt like it was just dropped in. But overall I thought it was a really pleasant film. It was well acted, the story was well told, there is some nice cinematography, and the third act did make me tear up a little bit, I'm not ashamed to admit it. So that's my thoughts on Gifted, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. As I say, quite a pleasant film, but I was going to see Churchill, so I was a little bummed out by that, but I still enjoyed this. Would I recommend going to the cinema to see it? Maybe not, but it was something that I'd absolutely watch when it's on TV again. So thanks very much for watching my review of The Gifted. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give this video a like, and don't forget to share the Lave. Morning, Miss Spencer. Subscribe.